So you need to, first of all, work out why do you have that threshold in the first place? And I guarantee for vast majority of you, that will be where you were as a child. So we replicate our parents' lives unwittingly. It doesn't matter if we're happy with our parents or not. It doesn't really make a difference either way. And it doesn't matter if they're absent or not. A lot of the times, if they're absent, we take on the traits of a parent who was present, but we can take on traits of a parent who was absent too. I've done that with my father, okay? So the way to combat it is work out, why do you have that threshold? Why do you feel safe around that time? Okay, safety is another factor as well. I mean, it's another question for another time. But say if you don't feel safe, or if you don't allow yourself to feel safe, you will never allow yourself to have savings either. So that's the point to remember. We can talk about that later. But the safety aspect plays part, because that's what's normal for us. So in order for us to be normal in the millions, we have to work out what made this normal for us. And the likelihood is that's how our parents lived. That's how our fathers lived. So most people, when they come to work with me, I make them go through an exercise, and we go through this usually on the full money block analysis call, and I make them analyze the kind of lifestyle the parents had when they were growing up, not them, but the parents growing up. So how did they live? What happened with them, and then what kind of lifestyle was given to them as a child, and what kind of life did they have, and what kind of conversation did they hear about money or didn't hear about money? Because a lot of the times parents don't talk about money in front of the kids, but the kids are not stupid. They intuitively pick up the tensions at home, the things that are going on in the house, and they internalize it as well, right? And then the next step after that is, okay, work out, be really honest with yourself. Say, okay, my father was earning this amount of money at the age of 40, and look at yourself. If you're 40, what kind of money are you earning? If you're 30, what kind of money are you earning? My mother behaved like this with money in her 30s and 40s. If you are 30, look at yourself. Now, if you're in your 20s, here's a bit of a caveat to it. In your 20s, you rebel against it, okay? And you can rebel against it. So your teens and your 20s, when you pull away from your earliest money paradigm, you pull away from your programming. There's something called a snapback. Somewhere along the lines between our early 30s and our early 40s, we have what I call a snapback. We pull away, and then bam, we come back and we start living a lifestyle which is very, very similar to that of our parents. So in monetary terms, you may have more money than your parents had. You may be making more money. So for example, you're making 5,000 and they were making 500. But actually liquid cash that you have to spend would be very, very similar. The kind of holidays you can take, the kind of how hard you have to work for your money, and the kind of things you have to do for your money will become very similar. So this is something that happens with entrepreneurs a lot. They come and they say, well, my parents were, they were employees, but I want to be my own boss. I want to be an entrepreneur. Great, fantastic. What these entrepreneurs will start doing is they work 10 times harder to get the success, because they've been programming to work hard for money. So they'll create that hard work for themselves. So not only will they keep the money low, they'll keep the hard work there as well. And if at any point in time they break free from that, they start breaking free from the threshold. Say, example, they make a lot of money because they come into a win, or crypto coin, something takes off, whatever happens, they will compensate that with sabotage hugely. So they'll bring it back. So they either get divorced, or they'll, as has been the case, whatever, they completely go bankrupt because they implode, the company implodes, or they're getting problem with the law enforcement. Something will happen which will bring you down. So the way to fix it, first of all, is to understand where it's coming from. The second step is easy. Right, okay. So my mom had this idea around money. What's the opposite to that? My father had this idea around money. What's the opposite to that? How do I actually truly want to feel around money? Oh, I want to feel comfortable around money. Okay, what's comfortable for you? Comfortable could be 5,000, 10,000, 100,000, 2 million. Get to a point which is really, really uncomfortable for you. Don't just generalize, really get to a number. So if you had 5,000 in your bank account, how would it feel? 500,000 in your bank account, how would you feel? 500 million in your bank account, how do you feel? And you get to a point where you will become uncomfortable, and there'll be a number that becomes unrealistic. You think, I'm never going to get that. I'm never going to get 500 million in my bank account. But 500,000 is a possibility. What makes you uncomfortable around it? And there's a whole process to start working out how you feel around money in large quantities and making yourself comfortable. So slowly, we're pushing up our threshold for for what we're comfortable around, and that's how you work. It's a work in process. It doesn't happen overnight, but the first step is recognizing why you're there.